You come to Prague in the autumn of the year 1357. The road has been long and dusty, and your feet hurt inside your worn leather shoes. You have walked from the south, from a village whose name no one in the city will ever know. Your pack is light. A change of linen, a wooden bowl, a knife, and a letter of recommendation from a priest who taught you to read. You have no silver, no family, no plan, only the hope that a city this large will have a place for a scribe who can hold a quill and keep his mouth shut. The gate of the city is called the Powder Tower, though it does not look like powder. It is black with age, and the guards look at you with tired eyes. They wave you through. You step inside, and the noise closes around you like a hand. Carts, children, women calling, men shouting, bells ringing somewhere above, the smell of bread and smoke and horses and the river all at once. You stop for a moment, and a man bumps into you and does not say sorry. You learn your first lesson about Prague. No one has time to say sorry. You walk without knowing where. The streets are narrow and crooked, and the houses lean toward each other, so that the sky is a thin ribbon of grey. Some streets are paved with stone, but most are just mud. You step around a pile of vegetable peels and a sleeping dog. A woman empties a bucket from a window above, and you jump back. She does not look down. You learn your second lesson. Look up. You ask a man selling apples for the street called Golden Lane. He points with his chin. You follow his chin and find yourself in a lane even narrower than the others. The houses here are tall and thin, like books on a shelf. Each one has a number carved above the door, but the numbers are old and hard to read. You find the one you are looking for, the golden ring. The sign above the door shows a ring, painted gold once, now faded to brown. The door is heavy and dark. You lift the iron ring and let it fall. A woman opens it. She is old, with a white cap and a face like a dried apple. She looks at your shoes, your pack, your face. You show her the letter. She reads it slowly, moving her lips. Then she says, "The room under the gable is empty. 2 coppers a week. No cooking on the stairs." You give her 2 coppers from the small pouch tied to your belt. She steps aside, and you enter. The hallway is dark and smells of old wood and cabbage. The stairs are wooden and steep, and they creak under your feet. You climb past the first floor, past the second, past a door that has a cross painted on it. The stairs get narrower as you go up. Your shoulders brush the walls. The air is cooler. You reach a small landing with a single door. You push it open. The room is small, smaller than you hoped. The ceiling is sloped because it is under the gable. A bed of straw and wood stands against one wall with a folded blanket at its foot. A wooden chest sits under the window. A clay lamp and a flint are on the chest. The window is small, set into the thick wall, and it looks out over the red roofs of the houses below. You can see the towers of the tin church, and beyond them, the dark shape of the castle on the hill. You put your pack on the chest. You sit on the bed. The straw rustles. You are alone. The noise of the street is muffled here, just a murmur, like the sound of a river from far away. You sit for a long time, not thinking, just breathing. Your legs are tired, and your back is tired, and your eyes are tired. You lie down on the bed, still in your clothes, and you close your eyes. A bell wakes you. It is not the bell of your village, which was small and thin. This bell is deep and heavy, and it seems to come from the stones themselves. You open your eyes, and the room is dark. The window is a square of grey. You do not know what time it is. The bell rings again, and then again, a slow rhythm. You count the strokes. There are 9 of them, and then silence. You light the lamp. The flint strikes, and the spark catches, and the wick glows. The flame is small, and it casts shadows on the sloped ceiling. You sit on the bed and look around the room. The walls are plastered and whitewashed, but the white is grey with age. There is a wooden cross above the door, small and plain. A hook on the wall holds nothing. The floor is wide, wooden planks, and they creak when you stand. You unpack your bag. The linen goes into the chest. The bowl and the knife go on top of the chest. The letter from the priest you put in your pocket. You have nothing else. You sit again and listen. The house is quiet, but the quiet is not empty. You hear the creak of a door somewhere below, the murmur of voices, the footsteps of someone climbing the stairs. They stop at the floor below, and a door closes. The house is full of people, and you are one of them now. You eat a piece of bread from your pack. It is dry and hard, but you chew it slowly. You drink water from the jug that stands by the bed. The jug is clay and heavy, and the water is cool. You lie down again and pull the blanket over you. The blanket is wool and smells of lanolin and smoke. The straw of the mattress is soft in some places and hard in others. You turn on your side and look at the window. The grey is darker now. Night has come. You think of the road. You think of the village where you were born, of the river that ran behind your father's house, of the dog that followed you to the edge of the fields. You think of your mother, who died last winter, and your father, who died before you could remember him. You think of the priest who taught you to read, his hands shaking, his voice soft. You think of the letter in your pocket, the only thing that proves you are who you say you are. The bell rings again. You count the strokes. There are 3 of them, and then silence. You do not know what they mean. You do not know what time it is. You only know that you are tired, and the bed is hard, and the blanket is thin. You close your eyes, and you sleep. You dream of the street. It is morning, and the light is gold. The houses are not grey, but warm, like honey. The cobblestones are wet, and the air smells of bread and the river. You are walking, but your feet do not hurt. You pass the well where the women are drawing water, and one of them looks up and smiles. You pass the baker's shop, and he hands you a piece of bread still warm. You eat it as you walk. The street ends at a bridge, a stone bridge with towers at both ends. You step onto it, and the river is below, dark and slow. A man in a long coat stands beside you and points to the castle. He says something, but you cannot hear the words. You wake. The window is grey again. The lamp has burned out. You sit up, and your back aches, and your neck is stiff. You are hungry. You are thirsty. You are not sure what to do. You sit on the edge of the bed, your feet on the cold wooden floor, and you wait. The door opens without a knock. The old woman is there, the one who let you in. She carries a tray with a wooden bowl, a wooden spoon, and a clay cup. She sets it on the chest. The bowl has porridge, grey and thick. The cup has water, cool and clean. She says, "Eat. Then go to the market. Ask for Oldich the merchant. He needs a scribe." She leaves, and the door closes. You eat the porridge. It is not sweet, but it is warm, and it fills your stomach. You drink the water. You put on your shoes, your coat, your cap. You take the letter from your pocket and put it back. You go down the stairs. The stairs are steep, and you hold the wall. The wood is smooth from years of hands. You pass the door with the cross, and you wonder who lives there. You pass the second floor, and you hear a baby crying. You pass the first floor, and the door is open, and you see a kitchen with a fire and a woman stirring a pot. She looks up and nods. You nod back. You reach the street. The air is cold, and your breath steams. The sky is grey, and the clouds are low. The lane is busy now. People walking, carts creaking, children running. You stand at the door of the Golden Ring, and you look at the house. It is tall and thin, with 3 windows on each floor, small and dark. The roof is red tile, and the gable has a wooden beam carved like a face. The face is old and cracked, and it seems to be watching you. You walk to the market. You do not know the way, but you follow the noise. The streets are crooked, and you turn left, then right, then left again. You pass a butcher with blood on his apron, a potter with clay bowls stacked on a cart, a woman selling bundles of dried herbs. The smell of roasted meat makes your stomach clench, but you have no money for meat. You keep walking. The market is a square, wide and open. Stalls fill every corner. You see cloth from Flanders, salts from the mountains, fish from the river, candles and shoes and rope and knives. You ask a man where to find Oldich the merchant. He points to a stall at the far end. The stall has bolts of wool and linen, and a man with a grey beard sits on a stool. His hands are stained with ink. You walk to him. You show him the letter. He reads it, and his face does not change. He says, "You can copy letters." You say, "I can." He says, "Come back tomorrow. I will have work for you." You nod. You turn and walk back to the Golden Ring. The stairs are hard to climb. Your legs are tired and your breath is short. You reach your room and you lie on the bed. The straw rustles. The window shows a piece of grey sky. You close your eyes and you sleep. The bell wakes you. It is the same bell, deep and heavy. You count the strokes. There are 6 of them. You do not know what they mean. You light the lamp. The flame is small, but the room glows. You sit on the bed and you look at the chest, the window, the door. You are here. You have a room, a key, a promise of work. You are not hungry, not yet. You are not cold, not yet. You are not cold, not yet. You are not cold, not yet. You are alone, but the aloneness is not this. It is just a fact, like the shape of the room, like the smell of the stairs. You lie down again. The straw rustles. The blanket smells of wool. The lamp flickers and the shadows dance on the sloped ceiling. You watch them until your eyes close and you sleep. You dream of the house. You are standing in the courtyard, and the well is in the center. A woman is drawing water, and she smiles at you. A man is mending a barrel, and he nods. A child runs past, laughing. You are not a stranger here. You are one of them. You wake, and the lamp has burned out. The window is grey. Morning has come. You dress, and you go down the stairs. The old woman is in the hallway. She says, "Aldrich, go." You go. The market is waking. The stalls are opening, and the merchants are calling. You find Aldrich at his stall. He hands you a stack of paper, a quill, and a puck of ink. He points to a stool in the back of the stall. "Sit, copy this." The writing is a list of goods, numbers, names. You dip the quill, and you begin. The work is slow. Your hand cramps and your eyes blur. But you copy, and the words fill the page. The morning passes. The market gets louder. Aldrich sells wool and linen to a man. He does not look at you. You copy. The ink dries and you dip again. At midday, Aldrich gives you a piece of bread and a cup of water. You eat standing. He says, "Come back tomorrow." You nod. You walk back to the golden ring. The stairs are hard. The room is cold. You light the lamp and sit on the bed. You are tired, but the tiredness is good. It is the tiredness of work, of a day that had a shape. You eat the last of your bread. You drink water from the jug. You lie down. The straw rustles. The lamp flickers. You close your eyes. The bell rings. You do not count the strokes. You sleep. The bell wakes you before dawn. It is the same bell you heard yesterday, deep and heavy, the bell of the tin church. You do not know the name of the bell, but you know its voice now. It rings 6 times and you count them without thinking. 6 is the hour for prime, the first prayer of the day. You have never been a monk, but the city has its own prayers and the bells are the voice of them. You lie in the bed for a while listening. The house is waking too. You hear footsteps on the stairs, a door opening and closing, the clank of a bucket being lifted. The woman in the kitchen below is already at work. You smell something cooking. Onions perhaps, or cabbage. Your stomach is empty, and the smell makes you aware of it. You have no bread left. You will have to buy something at the market. You sit up. The room is cold, and your breath steams. The lamp has burned out, but the window is grey with the first light. You dress quickly, pulling on your tunic and your coat and your shoes. The shoes are still damp from yesterday, and the leather is stiff. You lace them as best you can. You go to the chest and take out the few coins you have left. You count them. There are not many. You put them in the small pouch on your belt. You go down the stairs. The wooden steps are worn smooth in the middle, and you hold the wall to keep your balance. The kitchen door on the first floor is open, and you see the woman who nodded at you yesterday. She is stirring a pot over the fire. She looks up and says, "Good morning." There is water in the jug by the door. You thank her, and you drink a cup of water. It is cool and clean. You step out into the lane. The air is cold, and the cobblestones are wet with dew. The sky is grey, but there is a patch of pink in the east. The street is quiet now, but it will not stay quiet for long. You can hear the creak of a cart somewhere nearby, and the shout of a man calling to his horse. You walk toward the market. The market square is already busy, even at this early hour. The bakers have been up since midnight, and their stalls are piled with bread. You buy a small loaf, dark and round, for a copper. It is still warm from the oven. You break off a piece and eat it as you walk. The crust is hard, and the crumb is soft, and the taste is the taste of the city. You save the rest for later. You walk past the stalls. The fishmonger is laying out herring on a bed of wet straw. The potter is stacking bowls and cups. A woman is selling bundles of dried lavender and chamomile. The smell of herbs mixes with the smell of bread and fish and wet stone. You stop at a stall that sells cheese. You buy a small piece, hard and yellow, and you put it in your pocket. You reach Olditch's stall. He is already there, sitting on his stool, counting bolts of cloth. He looks up when you approach and says, "You are early." You say, "I did not know what time to come." He says, "Early is good. Sit." You sit on the stool in the back of the stall. He hands you a stack of paper and a quill and a pot of ink. The paper is not vellum, not the smooth calfskin you used in the priest's house. It is rag paper, rough and brown, but it will do. The quill is a goose feather, cut badly, but it will write. The ink is black and thick. He says, "Copy this." The paper in his hand is a letter, written in a cramped hand. It is a list of goods sent from Prague to a merchant in Nuremberg. There are names of cloth, numbers of ells, prices in groschen. You dip the quill and begin. The work is slow. Your hand is not yet used to the quill, and the paper is rough. But you copy, and the words fill the page. The morning passes. The market gets louder. Olditch sells wool to a woman in a red cloak and linen to a man with a cart. He does not look at you. You copy. The ink dries, and you dip again. At midday, Olditch gives you a piece of bread and a cup of water. You eat standing. He says, "You write slowly." You say, "I write slowly." You say, "I write carefully." He nods. He says, "Come back tomorrow." You put the coins he gives you in your pouch. You have earned enough for a week of bread. You walk back to the Golden Ring. The streets are crowded now. You step aside for a cart full of hay, and you wait for a woman with a flock of geese. A boy runs past you, chasing a dog. You climb the stairs to your room. The stairs seem easier today, or perhaps your legs are stronger. You sit on the bed and take out the cheese from your pocket. You cut a slice with your knife and eat it with the bread you saved from the morning. The cheese is sharp, and it crumbles on your tongue. You drink water from the jug. The room is quiet, and the light through the window is soft. You lie down for a while, but you do not sleep. You listen to the sounds of the house. Someone is walking on the floor above you. You did not know there was a room above you. The footsteps are light, quick, like a child's or a small woman's. You wonder who lives there. You have not met your neighbours yet. You get up and go to the window. The roofs of the houses slope down toward the river. You can see the Beltshave, grey and wide, and the stone bridge that crosses it. The bridge has many arches and a tower at each end. People are walking across it, small as ants. You watch them for a while, and then you turn away. You decide to explore the house. You go out to the landing and climb the stairs to the floor above. The stairs are even narrower here, and the walls are close. At the top, there is a door, closed. You knock. No one answers. You knock again. Still no answer. You wonder if the person with the light footsteps is out, or if they chose not to answer. You go back down. You pass the door with the cross on the second floor. This time, it is open a crack. You can see a bed, a table, a candle. An old man sits by the window reading a book. He looks up and sees you. He nods. You nod back. You do not speak. You go down to the courtyard. The courtyard is small, paved with flat stones. A well stands in the center with a wooden cover and a rope and a bucket. A woman is drawing water. She is the same woman you saw in the kitchen this morning. She looks up and says, "You are the scribe." You say, "I am." She says, "I am Marta. I live on the first floor. The old man upstairs is called Joseph. He was a priest once. Now he reads and prays." You say, "And the person above me?" She says, "That is Anna. She sews. She is quiet." You say, "Thank you." She says, "The well is for everyone. Draw what you need." You draw a bucket of water and carry it up to your room. You fill the jug and wash your face and hands. The water is cold and it wakes you up and wash your face and hands. The water is cold and it wakes you up. You sit by the window and look out at the roofs. The light is fading. The bell rings. It is the same bell, but softer now, as if the sound is tired too. You count the strokes. There are 7 of them. You do not know what they mean. You light the lamp and the flame glows. You eat the last of your bread and cheese. You drink water. You lie on the bed. The straw rustles. The lamp flickers. You close your eyes. You think of Marta, the woman who lives below. She has kind eyes. You think of Joseph, the old priest who reads by the window. He seems peaceful. You think of Anna, the seamstress above you, whose footsteps are light. You have not seen her face, but you know she is there. The house is not empty. It is full of quiet lives. The bell rings again. You count. There are 3 strokes. You do not know what they mean. You turn on your side and pull the blanket up. You dream of the market. You're walking between the stalls and the smells are strong. Bread, cheese, fish, herbs. You stop at the baker's stall and he gives you a piece of bread still warm. You eat it slowly. The baker smiles. You walk on. The market square is wide and the sky is blue. You see the towers of the tin church and you hear the bells. The bells are ringing, but the sound is soft, like a lullaby. You wake. The window is grey. The lamp has burned out. You sit up, like a galati eye. The room is cold. You dress quickly and go down the stairs. Marta is in the kitchen. She hands you a cup of warm milk. You drink it. It is sweet and it warms your stomach. You thank her. She says, "There is bread on the table. Take a piece." You take a piece and put it in your pocket. You go to the market. Aldrich is already at his stall. He hands you the quill and the ink and the paper. He says, "Today, copy the accounts." The accounts are long columns of numbers, purchases, and sales. You copy them slowly, carefully. Your hand does not cramp today. Your eyes do not blur. The morning passes. At midday, Aldrich gives you a piece of bread and a cup of water. You eat standing. He says, "You are faster today." You say, "I am learning." He nods. He gives you your coins. You put them in your pouch. You walk back to the golden ring. The streets are crowded, but you know them better now. You turn left at the butcher, right at the potter, straight at the well. You climb the stairs. Your legs are stronger. You sit by the window and eat your bread. The cheese is gone. You will need to buy more tomorrow. You watch the people on the bridge. A man is leading a horse. A woman is carrying a basket on her head. A child is throwing stones into the river. The light is gold and the shadows are long. You go down to the courtyard. Marta is there, hanging laundry on a line. She says, "Do you know how to mend a shirt?" You say, "I can try." She hands you a needle and thread and a shirt with a torn sleeve. You sit on a stone bench and sew. The needle is small and the thread is thin and your fingers are clumsy. But you mend the tear and the stitches are straight. Marta says, "Good enough." She gives you a piece of bread. You go back to your room, you light the lamp, you eat the bread, you drink water. You lie on the bed. The straw rustles. The lamp flickers. You close your eyes. You think of the house. The house is old, older than anyone knows. The walls are thick and the stairs are worn. People have lived here for generations. They have cooked and slept and argued and prayed. You are one of them now. A small part of a long story. The bell rings. You count the strokes. There are 9 of them. You do not know what they mean. You turn on your side and pull the blanket up. You sleep. You do not dream. The night is dark and the house is quiet and you are safe. The merchant Oldenchik trusts you now. Not with his secrets, not with his money, but with his words. He gives you longer letters to copy, contracts between cloth sellers, agreements with fur traders from the north. The handwriting is different each time, some neat, some crooked, some so bad that you have to guess the letters. You work slowly, because a mistake in a number could cost someone a sack of silver. Aldrich does not watch you. He trusts that you are careful. The stall is cold in the mornings, and your fingers stiffen around the quill. You dip the quill in the ink and wipe the extra on the rim of the pot. The letters come out thin and even. You have learned to hold the quill at the right angle, to press lightly, to lift before the ink pools. The paper is still rough, but you have grown used to it. It no longer scratches the way it did on the first day. Old Itch talks to his customers while you write. He has a low voice, and he does not shout like the other merchants. He says, "This wool came from England. Feel the softness." He says, "This linen was woven in Flanders. It will last for years." The customers nod and touch the cloth and bargain. Old Itch gives in a little, but not much. He has been selling cloth for 30 years, and he knows the price of everything. At midday, you stop for bread and water. You sit on the stool behind the stall, out of the wind. Old Itch sits beside you and eats his own bread. He says, "You write well. Where did you learn?" You say, "A priest taught me, in a village south of here." He says, "The priest is dead." You say, "He was old." Old Itch nods. He does not ask more. He is not a man for many words. You finish the last letter in the afternoon. Old Itch looks at it, holds it to the light, reads the numbers. He says, "It is good. Come back tomorrow." He gives you your coins. You put them in the pouch and walk back to the Golden Ring. The streets are wet today. It rained in the night, and the mud is thick. You step carefully, avoiding the deep puddles. A cart splashes water on your coat, but the coat is old and the water does not matter. You climb the stairs to your room and sit by the window. The rain has stopped, but the clouds are still low and the river is grey. You have been in Prague for 2 weeks now. You know the way to the market without thinking. You know the sound of the bells, though you still do not know what most of them mean. You know the smell of the stairs in the Golden Ring, old wood, cabbage, smoke. You know that Marta makes soup on Mondays and bread on Wednesdays. You know that Joseph, the old priest, reads his book by the window every afternoon. You have not seen Anna, the seamstress above you, but you hear her footsteps at night, soft and quick. You have enough coins to buy bread and cheese for the week. You have a small piece of soap that Marta gave you, and you wash your shirt in the courtyard on Sundays. The shirt dries on the line, and the wind makes it flap. You watch it from the window, and the flapping is a kind of company. One evening, there is a knock on your door. You open it, and a young woman stands there. She is small, with dark hair and pale skin and eyes that are tired. She holds a bundle of cloth in her arms. She says, "I am Anna. I live above you. I need help with a needle." You say, "I am not a tailor." She says, "Marta said you mended her shirt." You say, "I tried." She says, "That is enough." You let her in. She sits on the edge of your bed and spreads the cloth on her lap. It is a sleeve, torn at the seam. She has a needle and thread, but her fingers are clumsy, and she cannot see the stitches in the dim light. You take the needle and thread and sit beside her. You sew the seam slowly, carefully. The stitches are small and even. Anna watches your hands. She says, "Where did you learn?" You say, "I learned from watching. My mother used to sew." She says, "Your mother is dead." You say, "Yes." She says, "Mine too." You finish the seam and tie a knot. Anna takes the sleeve and holds it up. The stitches are straight and the cloth holds. She says, "Thank you." You say, "It was nothing." She stands and goes to the door. She stops and turns. She says, "If you need anything, knock on the ceiling. I will hear." Then she leaves. You sit on the bed and look at the door. The room feels different now. Someone has sat on your bed. Someone has spoken to you. Someone has said your name. You have been alone for so long that the sound of a voice feels strange. But it is not bad. It is just different. You light the lamp and eat your bread. You drink water. You lie down and close your eyes. The footsteps above you are soft, and you know they are Anna's. You fall asleep to the sound. The next day, you go to the market as always. Aldrich has a new letter for you, a long one from a merchant in Vienna. The handwriting is small and tight, and the words are hard to read. You work slowly, and the morning passes. At midday, Aldrich gives you bread and water. He says, "At midday, Aldrich gives you bread and water." He says, "A man came looking for a scribe. He needs someone to copy a book, a whole book. It will take months." You say, "Where is he?" Aldrich says, "He lives near the bridge." His name is Master Carell. He is a teacher at the university. You say, I will go to him. Aldrich says, after you finish my letters. You nod. You finish the letter in the afternoon. Aldrich gives you your coins and a piece of paper with an address. You walk to the bridge. The stone bridge is wide and the statues stand on both sides. You do not knot who the knight. They look old and stern. The river is brown today and the current is fast. You cross the bridge and turn left into a narrow street. The house of Master Carell is tall and white, with a blue door. You knock. A servant opens the door and leads you to a room with books. Many books, stacked on shelves, piled on tables, lying open on desks. The room smells of leather and dust and old paper. A man sits at a desk, writing. He is old, with white hair and a beard that needs trimming. He looks up and says, You are the scribe? You say, I am. He says, Can you read Latin? You say, A little. He says, That is enough. I need someone to copy a commentary on the Psalms. It will take many weeks. I will pay you by the page. You say, I will do it. He shows you the book. It is large, bound in leather, with thick pages and small writing. He says, You will work here in this room. Come at dawn. Go at dusk. Do not take the book from this house. You nod. He gives you a quill and ink and a stack of blank paper. You sit at a small desk by the window, and you begin to copy. The words are Latin, and your Latin is slow. But you know the Psalms, and the commentary explains them line by line. You copy the words without thinking about their meaning. The quill scratches, the ink dries, the page fills. The morning passes, the servant brings you bread and water. You eat without stopping. At dusk, you stop. Your hand is sore, and your eyes are tired. You have copied 10 pages. Master Carell looks at them and nods. He gives you your coins. You put them in your pouch and walk back to the golden ring. The streets are dark, and the lamps are lit in the windows. You climb the stairs to your room. You light your own lamp. You eat bread and cheese. You drink water. You lie on the bed and close your eyes. The footsteps above you are quiet. Anna is sewing, or sleeping, or just sitting. You do not know. But you know she is there. The days begin to blend together. You wake, you go to Master Carell's house, you copy, you eat, you copy, you go home, you sleep. The weeks pass. The commentary on the Psalms grows. You have filled 100 pages, then 200. Your handwriting is steady now, and your Latin is better. You no longer need to sound out each word. You read as you copy, and the meaning sinks into you without your noticing. The Psalms speak of waiting, of patience, of the silence of God. You copy them, and the waiting becomes part of you. You wait for the day to end, for the week to pass, for the winter to come. You wait without impatience. The waiting is the work, and the work is the prayer. One evening, Anna knocks on your door. She holds a bowl of soup. She says, Marta made too much. She said to share. You take the bowl. The soup is hot and thick, with beans and cabbage and a piece of pork. You eat it slowly. Anna sits on the edge of your bed and watches you. She says, You work for Master Carell now. You say, Yes. She says, He is famous. He knows the emperor. You say, I did not know. She says, He does not look famous. You say, Famous people do not always look famous. She smiles. It is the first time you have seen her smile. She stands and says, Keep the bowl. Bring it back tomorrow. She leaves. You look at the bowl. It is clay, brown and smooth. You run your finger over the rim. The soup is warm in your stomach. You are not alone. You return the bowl the next evening. Anna is not there, so you leave it outside her door. You hear her footsteps above you, and you know she will find it. The autumn turns to winter. The days are shorter, and the light in Master Carell's room is grey. He lights candles in the afternoon, and the flame flickers on the pages. You copy by candlelight, and your eyes strain. The servant brings you hot water with honey, and you drink it while you work. The honey is sweet, and the warmth spreads through your chest. One day Master Carell says, You have copied 300 pages. The book is half finished. You say, It will be finished by spring, he says. Perhaps. The winter is long. There is time. You walk home in the dark. The streets are empty and the cold is sharp. Your coat is thin and you shiver. You climb the stairs to your room and light the lamp. The room is cold, but you have a small stove that Marta showed you how to use. You put kindling and coal in it and light it. The flames are small, but the heat spreads slowly. You sit close to the stove and eat your bread. The footsteps above you stop. You hear a knock on the ceiling. 2 knocks, then a pause, then 2 more. You do not know what it means. You knock back. 1 knock, then silence. You smile. It is a small thing, but it is a conversation. You lie on the bed and pull the blanket up. The stove glows and the room is warm. You close your eyes and listen to the wind. The wind moves through the cracks in the walls, and it sounds like a voice. But it is only wind. You sleep. The winter deepens. The river freezes, and the market moves onto the ice. People skate and slide and pull sledges. You watch them from the bridge one afternoon. You do not skate. You do not know how. But you watch, and the watching is a kind of rest. Master Karel gives you a heavier coat, one that belonged to his son, who is now a priest in Rome. The coat is too big, but it is warm. You wear it every day. You smell the wool and the smoke, and the memory of the son who wore it before you. You copy the Psalms, and the Psalms copy themselves into you. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. You do not know if you believe it, but the words are a comfort. He makes me lie down in green pastures. There are no green pastures in Prague in winter, but the words are there, and the words are green. Anna brings you soup again, and bread, and once a piece of honey cake. You eat it slowly, saving the sweetness for last. You talk to her about small things, the price of candles, the cold in her room, the cat that lives in the courtyard. She tells you that she sews shirts for a tailor in the old town. She sews all day, and her fingers are sore. You tell her that your fingers are sore too. You compare Kellis's, hers are on her fingertips, yours are on the side of your middle finger. You laugh. The laughter is strange, because you have not laughed in a long time. But it is good. The winter is long, but it is not empty. The days are full of copying, and the evenings are full of small kindnesses. Marta gives you a pair of woolen socks. Joseph, the old priest, gives you a candle made of beeswax. It burns longer and cleaner than tallow. You light it in the evenings and watch the flame. It is steady, and the light is golden. You think of the candle in the window, and the person across the lane who reads or sews or just sits. You wonder if they have a beeswax candle too. The spring comes slowly. The ice melts, and the river rises. The market moves back to the square. The days are longer, and you no longer need the candle in the afternoon. Master Karel opens the window, and the air smells of mud, and the river, and something green. You copy the last pages of the commentary. Your hand moves quickly now, and the letters are even. The stack of paper on your desk has grown into a small mountain. One day Master Karel says, "It is finished." He holds the pages in his hands, a thick pile of them. He turns them slowly, looking at each page. He says, "You have done well. The book will be bound, and it will go to the university library. Students will read it 100 years from now." You say, "They will not know my name." He says, "They will not need to. The work is enough." He gives you your final payment, more coins than you have ever held. You put them in your pouch. You walk back to the Golden Ring. The streets are crowded, and the sun is warm. You climb the stairs to your room. You sit on the bed and count the coins. You have enough to live for many months. You have enough to buy new shoes, a new coat, a new blanket. You have enough to stay. You go to the courtyard. Marta is hanging laundry. Anna is drawing water. Joseph is sitting on the bench, reading his book. You say, "The book is finished." Marta says, "What book?" You say, "The one I was copying, for Master Karel." Anna says, "You will have more work." You say, "I do not know, but I have enough to stay." Joseph looks up from his book and says, "Staying is good. Staying is the hardest thing." You nod. You climb to the roof. There is a ladder in the attic, and you have never used it before. But today you do. You climb to the ridge and sit with your back to a chimney. The sun is setting and the light is gold. The castle is dark, the river is silver, the towers rise like fingers. You look at the roofs of the houses, the windows, the chimneys. You see the window of your room, small and dark. You see the window of Anna's room above it, and the window of Josef's room below. The house is a stack of small lives, and you are one of them. You sit until the stars appear. The bells ring, and you count the strokes. You do not know what they mean, but you know that you are here and that the house is here and that the city is here. You will not leave. The room under the gable is yours. The stairs are yours. The courtyard is yours. The neighbours are yours. You have a place. You climb down the ladder and go to your room. You light the lamp. You eat bread and cheese. You drink water. You lie on the bed. The straw rustles. The lamp flickers. You close your eyes. The footsteps above you are soft. Anna is sewing, or sleeping, or just sitting. You do not know, but you know she is there. You are not alone. You have never been alone. The bell rings. You do not count. You sleep. The courtyard of the Golden Ring is not large. You can walk from one end to the other in 20 steps. But it is the center of the house, the place where the walls meet and the sky opens. In the summer, the sun falls on the stones for a few hours in the morning. In the winter, it is always in shadow. But you like it. The courtyard is quiet when the street is loud. The well stands in the middle, with its wooden cover and its rope and its bucket. A stone bench sits against the wall, under the window of Josef's room. A few pots of herbs stand near the door of Marta's kitchen: rosemary, thyme, sage. They are small, but they grow. You first went to the courtyard on your second day, when Marta told you to draw water. You did not know how to use the well. You had only drawn water from a stream before. The rope was rough and the bucket was heavy. You lowered it, and it hit the water with a splash. You pulled it up, hand over hand, and the water sloshed over the rim. Your shoes got wet. Marta laughed. She showed you how to wrap the rope around your hand, how to pull evenly, how to hook the bucket on the rim. You learned. Now you draw water without thinking. The rope is smooth in your palms, and the bucket comes up steady. The courtyard is shared. Marta uses it to hang laundry. Josef sits on the bench to read when the weather is warm. Anna sits there too sometimes with her sewing. The boy from the bakery comes sometimes to draw water for his mother. You have learned his name. It is Pavel. He is small and thin, and his teeth are crooked, but he smiles often. He asks you questions. Where are you from? Why did you come to Prague? Do you have a horse? You answer him. He listens, and then he asks more questions. He is curious, and his curiosity is a kind of warmth. Marta is the one who keeps the courtyard clean. She sweeps the stones with a broom of pritch twigs. She pulls the weeds that grow between the cracks. She empties the bucket when the water gets old. She does not complain. The work is just something that needs to be done. You help her sometimes. You sweep, or you carry the bucket, or you hold the line while she hangs the laundry. She gives you bread in return, or a piece of cheese, or a cup of warm milk. She does not say thank you. She does not need to. Josef comes down in the afternoon when the sun is warm. He sits on the bench and opens his book. The book is old, bound in leather with a brass clasp. The pages are yellow and the writing is small. He reads slowly, moving his lips. Sometimes he stops and looks up at the sky. He does not speak. You sit with him sometimes on the bench beside him. You do not speak either. The silence is not empty. It is full of the sound of the well, the rustle of the laundry, the distant noise of the street. Anna comes down in the evening, when her eyes are tired from sewing. She sits on the bench and rubs her fingers. She does not complain either, but you can see that her hands hurt. You sit with her. She talks about the shirts she is sewing, the fabric, the thread, the tailor who pays her too little. You listen. You do not have advice. Listening is enough. One day, a man you have not seen before comes into the courtyard. He is young, with a cap and a leather apron. He carries a hammer and a chisel. He says, "I am the stonemason. The well needs repair. The rope is fraying." Marta says the rope is new. He says, "The stones are loose. I must fix them." He kneels by the well and begins to chip at the mortar. The sound of the chisel is sharp, but it is not unpleasant. It is a work sound, like the loom, like the quill. You watch him. He works slowly, carefully. He removes the loose stones and mixes new mortar in a wooden bowl. He spreads the mortar with a trowel and sets the stones back in place. He wipes his hands on his apron and stands. He says, "It will hold now." Marta gives him a piece of bread. He eats it standing. He leaves. The courtyard is quiet again. The well holds. The rope does not fray. The bucket does not leak. You draw water every day, and the water is cool and clean. You drink it, wash in it, cook with it. The well is old, older than the house, older than the memory of anyone who lives here. It has seen many hands, many buckets, many mornings. You are one of them now. The courtyard changes with the seasons. In autumn, the leaves from the tree behind the house blow over the wall and scatter on the stones. Marta sweeps them, but more come. She gives up. The leaves stay, and they turn brown, and they crack under your feet. In winter, the snow covers the stones, and the well cover is white. You draw water, and the rope is stiff, and your hands are cold. In spring, the herbs in the pots turn green, and the laundry smells of the wind. In summer, the sun falls on the bench, and Joseph moves his chair to stay in the shade. You have come to know the rhythm of the courtyard. Marta washes laundry on Mondays. She hangs it on the line, and the shirts and sheets flap in the wind. Pavel comes for water on Tuesdays and Fridays. Joseph sits on the bench in the afternoon, except when it rains. Anna comes in the evening after the light is gone from her window. The courtyard is a clock, and the people are the hands. One evening, you sit with Anna on the bench. The sun has set, and the sky is purple. The lamps are lit in the windows of the houses. You can see the light in your own window, small and yellow. Anna says, "Do you ever miss your village?" You say, "Sometimes. I miss the river. It was clear, not like the Vltava. You could see the bottom." She says, "I was born in Prague. I have never seen a village." You say, "They are quiet, quieter than here." She says, "I like the noise. It means there are people." You nod. You understand. The door from the street opens, and Marta comes out with a bucket of scraps. She empties it into a barrel by the wall. She says, "The pigs will eat well tomorrow." She goes back inside. The door closes. The courtyard is quiet again. You sit for a while longer. The stars appear, the bells ring. You do not count. You stand and say, "Good night." Anna says, "Good night." You climb the stairs to your room. The stairs are dark, but you know them. You do not need a lamp. Your hand finds the wall, and your feet find the steps. You open your door and light the lamp. The flame glows, and the room is warm. You sit by the window and look out at the courtyard. The well cover is white in the moonlight. The bench is empty. The pots of herbs are shadows. The house is sleeping. You think of the stonemason chipping at the mortar. The well is repaired now, and it will hold for many years. You are like the well, you think. You are repaired. You were loose, and someone set you back in place. Marta, Anna, Josef, Aldeband, each Master Karel. They are the mortar. They hold you. You eat bread and cheese. You drink water. You lie on the bed. The straw rustles. The lamp flickers. You dream of the have It is summer and the sun is warm. Marta is hanging laundry. Josef is reading. Anna is sewing. Pavel is drawing water. You are sitting on the bench, watching. The well is full, and the rope is strong. The water is cool and clean. You are not a stranger here. You are one of them. You wake, the window is grey. The lamp has burned out. You dress and go down to the courtyard. Marta is already there, sweeping. She says, "Good morning." You say, "Good morning." You draw water and carry it to your room. You wash your face and hands. You go to the market. Oldich is at his stall. He has a new letter for you, a short one. You copy it quickly. He gives you your coins. You walk to Master Karel's house. He has a new book for you, a commentary on the Gospels. You sit at the small desk and begin to copy. The words are Latin, and the Latin is familiar now. You do not struggle. The quill moves, and the page fills. The morning passes. The servant brings you bread and water. You eat without stopping. At dusk, you walk home. The streets are crowded. You step aside for a cart full of hay. You wait for a woman with a basket of eggs. You climb the stairs to your room. You light the lamp. You hear a knock on the door. It is Anna. She holds a bowl of soup. She says, "Marta made too much." You take the bowl. The soup is hot and thick. You eat it slowly. Anna sits on the edge of your bed and watches you. She says, "The courtyard was quiet today." You say, "It is always quiet in the morning." She says, "I like the quiet." You say, "I like it too." She leaves. You return the bowl the next morning. You leave it outside her door. You hear her footsteps above you. You go to the courtyard. Josef is sitting on the bench. He is not reading. He is just sitting. You sit beside him. He says, "The weather is changing. The wind is from the south." You say, "That means rain." He says, "Yes, the roof will leak." You say, "Does your roof leak?" He says, "Every roof leaks in Prague." The water finds a way. You sit in silence. The wind moves through the courtyard. The laundry flaps. The herbs shiver. The rain comes in the afternoon. It is soft at first, then harder. You watch it from your window. The drops hit the stones and bounce. The well cover is wet. The laundry is gone. Marta took it down in time. The herbs are still there, and the rain washes their leaves. You go down to the courtyard and stand under the overhang of the stairs. The rain is loud on the roof. The water runs in the cracks between the stones. You watch it flow toward the drain. The drain is old, but it works. The water disappears into the ground. Joseph comes out. He stands beside you. He says, "The rain is good for the herbs." You say, "The sage was dry." He says, "It will be green tomorrow." He goes back inside. You stay for a while. The rain slows, then stops. The clouds break, and the sun comes out. The stones steam. The herbs glisten. You go back to your room. You light the lamp. You eat bread and cheese. You drink water. You lie on the bed. The straw rustles. The lamp flickers. You close your eyes. You think of the courtyard. It is small, but it holds the house together. The well holds the water, and the water holds the people. The bench holds the old man, and the herbs hold the memory of summer. The stones hold the feet of everyone who has lived here. You are a stone now. You are in place. You sleep. The footsteps above you are soft. Anna is sewing, or sleeping, or just sitting. You do not know. But you know she is there. The well is there. The courtyard is lit. The house is there. You are not alone. The bridge is called Charles Bridge now, but in the year 1357, when you first walk on it, people call it the Stone Bridge. It is new then, not yet 30 years old, and the stone is still pale, not yet darkened by centuries of rain and smoke. The Emperor Charles IV built it to replace the old bridge that the flood washed away. The old bridge was wooden, and the river took it. The new bridge is stone, and the river will not take it. That is what people say. You have crossed the bridge many times going to Master Karel's house on the other side, but you have never walked on it without a purpose. You have never just stood and looked. One afternoon, after you finish copying for the day, you decide to do that. The sun is still high, and the light is gold. You are not in a hurry. You walk to the middle of the bridge and stop. The river is wide here. It flows from the south, from the mountains, and it curves around the bend before passing under the bridge. The water is grey-green, and it moves slowly, carrying leaves and bits of wood and the reflection of the clouds. You lean on the stone railing and watch. The stone is rough under your hands, and the wind is cool on your face. On the other side of the railing, the river is deep. You cannot see the bottom. You think of the old wooden bridge, the one that the flood took. You imagine the water rising, the planks cracking, the horses and carts falling. You do not know anyone who was there, but the story is in the air, like the smell of the river. A man stops beside you. He is a pilgrim. You can see that from the scallop shell on his hat. He is thin, and his shoes are worn, and his face is red from the wind. He asks, "Is this the way to the castle?" You point to the hill on the other side. You say, "The castle is there." Follow the street up. He says, How far? You say, a quarter of an hour. Maybe more. The hill is steep. He thanks you. He reaches into his pack and gives you an apple. It is small and green with a brown spot. You take it. He walks on. You watch him cross the bridge, a small figure in a grey coat growing smaller. You eat the apple. It is tart, and the skin is tough, but the flesh is sweet. You eat it slowly, standing at the railing. The core you drop into the river. It floats for a moment, then sinks. You walk to the other side of the bridge. The towers stand at both ends, tall and dark. The one on the old town side is older, with a pointed roof and a gate that closes at night. The one on the castle side is newer, and the stone is still pale. You pass under the arch and turn left into a narrow street. The street leads up the hill, past houses and shops and a small church. The pilgrim is already far ahead. You do not follow him. You turn back. You cross the bridge again. The sun is lower now, and the shadows are longer. The statues on the bridge look down at you. You do not know who they are. Some are saints, you think. One holds a cross, one holds a book, one holds his hand up, as if blessing the river. You stop at each one and look. The stone is grey, and the faces are warm. The wind has smoothed them, and the rain has washed them. They have stood here for years, and they will stand for many more. You lean on the railing again. A boat passes under the bridge. It is a small boat, with one man at the oars and a pile of sacks in the middle. The man looks up and waves. You wave back. He calls something, but the wind takes the words. You do not know what he said. You do not know what he said. You wave again, and he passes. The sun touches the tops of the towers. The light turns gold, then orange, then pink. You have been on the bridge for a long time. You have not thought of anything. You have only watched the river, the boats, the pilgrim, the statues. The watching is a kind of rest. You walk back to the golden ring. The streets are quieter now. The market is closing and the stalls are being taken down. The bakers are packing their bread into baskets. The potters are stacking their bowls. A woman is sweeping the steps of a church. The sound of the broom is soft, like the sound of the river. You climb the stairs to your room. You light the lamp. You eat bread and cheese. You drink water. You lie on the bed. The straw rustles. The lamp flickers. You close your eyes. You dream of the bridge. It is night, and the lamps are lit in the towers. The river is black, and the stars are reflected in the water. You are standing at the railing, and a statue is speaking to you. You cannot hear the words, but you understand them. The statue says, "Stay." You wake. The window is grey. The rent have parted. You dress and go to the courtyard. Marta is there, drawing water. She says, "You were on the bridge yesterday." You say, "How do you know?" She says, "I saw you. I was at the fish market." You say, "The river was quiet." She says, "The river is never quiet." You nod. You draw water and carry it to your room. You go to Master Carroll's house. You nod. You draw water and carry it to your room. You go to Master Carroll's house. You copy the Gospels. In the beginning was the Word. You copy the words, and the words copy themselves into you. The morning passes. The servant brings you bread and water. You eat without stopping. At dusk, you walk home. You do not go to the bridge. You go straight to the golden ring. You climb the stairs. You light the lamp. You eat. Anna knocks on your door. She holds a bowl of soup. She says, "Marta made soup." She said to share. You take the bowl. The soup is potato and leek. It is warm and thick. You eat it slowly. Anna sits on the edge of your bed. She says, "I saw you on the bridge too." You say, "Everyone saw me." She says, "You were standing very still. I thought you were a statue." You say, "The statues on the bridge are old." "I am not old." She says, "You are still." You say, "Still is good." She leaves. You return the bowl the next morning. You leave it outside her door. You hear her footsteps above you. On Sunday, you go to the bridge again. This time, you bring a piece of bread. You break it into small pieces and drop them into the river. The ducks come. They are brown and grey, and they paddle in a circle. They eat the bread and quack. You watch them. The bread is gone, and the ducks swim away. You lean on the railing. A woman stands beside you. She is old, with a white cap and a black shawl. She is holding a candle. She lights it from a lamp that hangs on a post. The flame is small. She sets the candle on the railing and says a prayer. You do not hear the words. Her lips move and her eyes close. She stands for a long time. The candle burns. The wax drips. She opens her eyes, picks up the candle, and walks away. You watch her go. You wonder who she was praying for. A husband, a child, a friend. You do not know. But the prayer is there, on the railing, in the wax. The wind does not blow it away. You walk to the other side of the bridge. The sun is high, and the light is white. The river is blue today. You do not know why it changes color. It is the same water, but the light makes it different. You stand at the railing and look down. The water is clear near the edge. You can see the stones at the bottom. They are smooth and grey. A fish swims past, quick and silver. You think of the village where you were born. The river there was small, and you could see the bottom everywhere. You used to catch fish with your hands. You were good at it. The fish were slippery, and they slid through your fingers. But sometimes you held one, and you would look at it, and then you would let it go. You did not eat them. You just liked to hold them. The memory is old, and it fades. You try to hold them. The memory is old, and it fades. You try to hold it, but it slips away, like the fish. You let it go. You walk back to the golden ring. The stairs are hard. You climb to your room. You sit by the window. The sun is lower now, and the roofs are gold. You watch the people on the bridge. They are small, like ants. They move slowly. You cannot see their faces. You eat bread and cheese. You drink water. You lie on the bed. The straw rustles. You close your eyes. You think of the pilgrim with the apple. You wonder if he reached the castle. You think of the pilgrim with the apple. You wonder if he is going next. To Rome, maybe. To Santiago. To Jerusalem. The roads are long and his shoes are worn. But he walks. The walking is his prayer. You are not a pilgrim. You are a scribe. Your prayer is the quill, the ink, the page. The words are your road. They go on, and you follow them. You sleep. The bell rings. You do not count. You dream of the bridge. The statues are alive, and they are walking. They step down from their pedestals and walk across the stones. Their feet are heavy. At the bright equip, you are not afraid. They are old, and they are slow. They walk past you, and they do not see you. They walk to the other side, and they climb back onto their pedestals. They turn back into stone. You wake. The window is grey. You dress and go to the courtyard. Marta is not there. The well is quiet. The bench is empty. You draw water and carry it to your room. You wash your face and hands. You go to Master Carroll's house. You quote the Gospels. The words are the same, but they feel different today. The Word was made flesh. You write the words, and you think of the statues walking. The Word made stone. The Word made water. The Word made bridge. You stop. You look at the page. The letters are even. The ink is black. You have written nothing strange. Just the words. You dip the quill and continue. The morning passes. The servant brings you bread and water. You eat. You drink. You copy. A dusk you walked, that bright, that strike to stike. You do not know why. Your feet take you there. You lean on the railing. The river is dark. The lamps are lit in the towers. The statues are shadows. You stand for a long time. A man walks past you. He is old, with a limp. He is carrying a sack. He stops and looks at the river. He says, "The water is high this year." You say, "It is." He says, "The bridge will hold." You say, "It is stone." He says, "Stone can break." He walks on. You watch him go. You think of the old wooden bridge. You were not there, but you feel it. The water rising, the planks cracking, the horses falling, the people screaming. The bridge is new now, and the stone is strong. But the river is old, and the river is patient. It waits. White them whites. You turn and walk back to the golden ring. The stairs are dark. You climb to your room. You light the lamp. You eat bread and cheese. You drink water. You lie on the bed. You close your eyes. The bridge is there in your mind. The statues are still. The river flows. The pilgrim walks. The woman with the candle prays. The old man with the sack limps. They are all there, on the bridge, in the dark. You are there too. You are standing at the railing, watching. You sleep. The footsteps above you are soft. Anna is sewing, or sleeping, or just sitting. You do not know. But you know she is there. The bridge is there. The river is there. You are there, is there. You are there, you are not alone. The winter comes to Prague in the last week of November. You notice it first in the morning, when the window is white with frost and your breath steams in the air of your room. The stairs are cold, and your hand leaves a print on the wooden rail. The courtyard stones are slippery, and Marta has spread ash on the path to keep you from falling. The well cover is stiff, and the rope is hard. You draw water, and the bucket comes up dripping ice. The days grow short. The sun rises late and sets early, and by the middle of the afternoon, the light is already fading. You light your lamp before you leave Master Carlyle's house. The walk home is dark, and the streets are lit only by the lamps that hang in front of the churches, and the candles that glow in the windows of the houses. You know the way now, and you do not need much light. Your feet know the cobblestones, and your hands know the corners. The room under the gable is cold. The small stove keeps the worst of the chill away, but you can still see your breath when you wake. You wear your coat even inside. You wrap the blanket around your shoulders when you sit at the window. The window is dark by 4 and you do not open the shutters. You keep them closed and the room is a box of shadow and flame. You light a candle, not the tallow one that smokes and sputters, but the beeswax one that Joseph gave you. It burns clean, and the flame is steady, and the light is golden. You set it on the chest by the window. The flame reflects on the glass, and you see your own face, pale and thin. You look away. You eat your supper by the light of the candle. Bread and cheese, sometimes soup from Marta, sometimes a piece of fish from the market. You eat slowly. There is no hurry. The night is long, and you have nothing to do but sit and wait for sleep. You think of the people in the houses across the lane. Their windows are lit too. You can see them from your window if you press your face to the glass. A woman sits by her fire sewing. A man reads a book, his lips moving. A child plays on the floor with a wooden horse. You do not know their names, but you see them every evening. They are there and you are there. The lane is a row of small lights, each one a life. Anna knocks on your door. She has a cup of hot milk. She says, "Marta heated milk," she said to share. You take the cup. The milk is warm and sweet. You drink it slowly. Anna sits on the edge of your bed. She says, "The winter is cold. Your room is colder than mine." You say, "The heat rises. You are above me." She says, "Then you should be above me." You say, "I like the gable. The roof keeps the rain out." She says, "The roof keeps the heat out too." You drink the milk. She sits. She says, "I am sewing a shirt for a man in the castle. He wants silk. I have never sewn silk." You say, "Is it difficult?" She says, "It slips." The needle slides. She holds up her hands. Her fingers are red. You say you should rest. She says, "I cannot rest. The shirt must be ready for Christmas." You say, "Christmas is a month away." She says, "The man is impatient." She stands. She takes the cup. She says, "Good night." You say, "Good night." She leaves. You sit by the window. The candle flickers. The glass is dark. You press your face to it and you see the lights across the lane. The woman is still sewing. The child is sleeping on the floor. You watch them for a while and then you turn away. You lie on the bed. The blanket is thin and you pull your coat over it. The stove glows, but the heat does not reach the bed. You shiver. You close your eyes. You think of summer. You think of the river, warm and slow. You think of the sun on the stones of the bridge. You sleep. The bell rings. It is the bell of the tin church, deep and heavy. You count the strokes. There are 4 of them. You do not know what they mean. You turn over and sleep again. The winter deepens. The snow comes in December, not a heavy snow, but a light one that dusts the roofs and the streets. The cobblestones are white, and the footsteps of the people leave dark prints. The market is quieter now. Fewer stalls, fewer people. The bakers still sell bread and the potters still sell bowls, but the fishmonger has gone and the herb woman has gone. The cold keeps them home. You still go to Master Corell's house. The room where you copy is warm. He keeps a fire burning all day. You sit by the window, and the light is grey. But you do not need candles until the afternoon. The Gospels are long, and the words are slow. And the Word was made flesh. You copy the words, and the Word was made flesh. You copy the words, and the words fill the pages. The servant brings you hot water with honey. You drink it, and the sweetness spreads through your chest. You think of the woman across the lane, sewing by her fire. You think of the man, reading his book. You think of the child with the wooden horse. They are warm, you hope. You hope they have enough wood. At dusk, you walk home. The streets are empty, and the snow is untouched. Your feet make the first tracks. The lamps are lit in the windows, and the light spills onto the white cobblestones. You walk slowly. There is no hurry. The night is long. You climb the stairs to your room. You light the candle. You eat your supper. You sit by the window. The lights across the lane are there. The woman is sewing. The man is reading. The child is playing. You watch them, and they do not know you are watching. You are a ghost in the window, a shadow behind the glass. Anna knocks. She has a piece of bread, still warm. She says, "Marta baked bread." She said to share. You take the bread. It is dark and dense, and the crust is hard. You break it in half and give her the larger piece. She takes it. She sits on the edge of your bed. She eats the bread. You eat yours. She says, "The silk is difficult. The needle slips and the thread tangles." You say, "You will finish it." She says, "I have sewn 10 shirts this month. My fingers hurt." You say, "You should rest." She says, "I cannot rest. The tailor pays by the shirt." You say, "Then you must sew." She says, "Yes." She finishes her bread. She stands. She says, "Good night." You say, "Good night." She leaves. You sit by the window. The candle burns low. You trim the wick with your fingers, and the flame grows brighter. You watch the lights across the lane. The woman is not sewing now. She is sitting by the fire, her hands in her lap. The man is not reading. He is looking out the window. He is looking at your window, perhaps. You cannot tell. The light is too dim. You wave, but you do not know if he sees. The candle burns out. The room is dark. You feel your way to the bed. You lie down. The blanket is thin. You shiver. You close your eyes. You dream of the lane. It is summer, and the windows are open. The woman is hanging laundry. The man is sweeping his step. The child is checking. You are standing in the street, and they look at you. They smile. You smile back. You do not know their names, but you know their faces. You wake. The window is grey. The frost is thick on the glass. You cannot see the lane. You dress and go to the courtyard. Marta is there, shoveling snow. She says, "The well is frozen. I cannot draw water." You say, "What will we do?" She says, "We will melt snow. Bring a pot." You go to your room and bring your pot. Marta fills it with snow. You carry it to her kitchen. She sets it on the stove. The snow melts and the water is clean. You drink it. It is cold, but it is water. You go to Master Carroll's house. The streets are slippery and you walk carefully. You fall once on a patch of ice. Your knee hurts, but you stand and walk on. The snow is falling again, soft and slow. Master Carell is at his desk. He looks up and says, "You are late." You say, "The streets are slippery." He says, "Sit, copy." You sit, you copy. The words are the same. And the word was made flesh. You write them, and the page fills. The servant brings you hot water with honey. You drink it. The room is warm. Your knee throbs, but the pain is small. You ignore it. At dusk, you walk home. The snow is deeper now, and the tracks of the day are covered. You were the first to walk on the fresh snow. Your feet leave prints, and the prints are dark. You follow them home. You climb the stairs. The stairs are cold, and your hand is stiff. The stairs are cold, and your hand is stiff. You light the candle. You eat your supper. You sit by the window. The lights across the lane are there. The woman is sewing. The child is sleeping. You watch them. The child is sleeping. You quote nightly worried. You are tired. Your eyes close. You open them. The lights are still there. You close them again. You sleep in the chair. You wake when the candle burns out. The room is dark. You feel your way to the bed. You lie down. You pull the blanket over you. You shiver. You sleep. The winter is long and the days are short. You wake in the dark and you go home in the dark. The sun is a pale disk behind the clouds and it gives no warmth. The snow falls and the snow melts and the snow falls again. The river is frozen and the boats are still. The bridge is white and the statues wear caps of snow. You copy the Gospels, the pages pile up. The words are the same, but you do not tire of them. In the beginning was the Word. You write the words, and the words are a kind of light. The candle in your window is small. It burns every evening from dusk until you sleep. You trim the wick and you watch the flame. The flame is steady and the light is gold. It is the only color in the grey room. Anna comes less often now. The cold keeps her in her room. Anna comes less often now. The cold keeps her in her room. In her footsteps above you, but she does not knock. You do not knock on her door. You listen and you know she is there. Marta brings you soup every day. She leaves it outside your door. You open the door and the bowl is there, covered with a cloth. The soup is warm and you eat it in your room. You return the bowl the next morning. You leave it outside her door. Joseph does not come to the courtyard. The cold is too much for him. You see his light in the window and you know he is reading. The book is old and the pages are yellow, but he reads it every day. You wonder if he will finish it. You wonder if there is an end. The winter solstice comes in December. The day is the shortest of the year. The sun rises late and sets early, and the dark is deep. You light your candle before supper, and you keep it burning until you sleep. The flame is small, but it is enough. You think of the people across the lane. They have candles too. You see them in the windows, small and yellow. You think of the woman sewing, the man reading, the child playing. They are there, and you are there. The lane is a row of small lights, and the lights are a chain. You sleep. The bell rings. You do not count. You dream of the candle. It is tall and white, and the flame is high. The wax drips, and the drips are tears. You reach for the flame, but it does not burn. You hold it in your hand, and it is warm. You wake. The window is grey. The frost is thick. You cannot see the lane. You dress and go to the courtyard. Marta is there, shoveling snow. She says, "The winter will break soon. The days are getting longer." You say, "Are they?" She says, "A little." The solstice has passed. You say, "I did not notice." She says, "No one notices." But the light returns. You draw water from the well. The rope is stiff, but the well is not frozen. The water is cold and you carry it to your room. You wash your face and hands. You go to Master Carell's house. The Gospels are almost finished. You can see the end. The last pages are thin, and the words are few. And the Word was made flesh, and dwelt among us. You copy the words, and the page fills. The book is done. Master Carell looks at the pages. He says, "It is finished." You say, "It is finished." He gives you your coins. You put them in your pouch. He says, "There will be more books. Come back after Christmas." You say, "I will." You walk to the bridge. The snow is deep, and the railing is cold. You lean on it and look at the river. The river is frozen, white and still. The boats are gone, the ducks are gone, the water is hidden. You stand for a long time. The wind is cold and your face is numb. You do not move. You think of the old wooden bridge. You think of the flood that took it. The water was high and the ice was thick. The bridge cracked and the planks fell. The horses fell. The carts fell. The people fell. The water took them. The new bridge is stone. The water will not take it, but the water is patient. It waits. You turn and walk back to the golden ring. The stairs are dark. You climb to your room. You light the candle. You eat your supper. You sit by the window. The lights across the lane are there. The woman is sewing. The man is reading. The child is playing. You watch them. The candle burns. The flame flickers. You are tired. You close your eyes. You sleep in the chair. You dream of the candle in the window. It is your candle, and it is the only light in the dark. The flame is steady, and the wax is white. You watch it, and it watches you. You are not alone. You wake. The candle has burned out. The room is dark. You feel your way to the bed. You lie down. You pull the blanket over you. You shiver. You close your eyes. The winter is long, but the light returns. The days grow longer, and the candles burn less. The snow melts, and the river flows. The bridge is wet, and the statues drip. The lane is muddy, and the footsteps are dark. You are still there. The room is still there. The candle is still there. The candle is still there. The candle is still there. You light it every evening, and you watch the flame. The flame is small, but it is enough. The light is enough. December comes, and with it comes the feast of St. Nicholas. You have heard of this feast before in your village, but it was small there. The priest would say a mass, and the children would get apples and nuts. Here in Prague, the feast is larger. The whole city seems to hold its breath for this one day. You know it is coming because the market changes. The stalls sell little wooden toys, carved animals, dolls wrapped in cloth. There are bags of nuts, dried apples, honey cakes shaped like stars. The smell of pine branches fills the air. Women carry bundles of evergreen to hang on their doors. The churches are busy, and the priests are preparing for the Mass. You have no family here, no children to buy gifts for, but the feast touches you anyway. The excitement is in the air, like the smell of snow. You feel it when you walk to the market. You feel it when you climb the stairs of the Golden Ring. You feel it when you light your candle in the evening. Something is coming. Marta tells you about the feast. She's in the courtyard, hanging a wreath of pine on her door. She says, on the eve of St. Nicholas, the saint walks through the streets. He wears a bishop's robe and a tall hat. He carries a staff. The children follow him. He asks them if they have been good. He gives them gifts. You say, I have seen nothing like that. She says, you will see. Tomorrow night. Anna knocks on your door. She has a small bundle of cloth. She says, I made you a gift. You open the bundle. Inside is a scarf knitted from grey wool. It is long and soft. You say, you did not have to. She says, I had extra yarn. The tailor gave it to me. You wrap the scarf around your neck. It is warm. You say, thank you. She says, you are welcome. She stands for a moment, then leaves. You wear the scarf the next day. It is cold, and the wind is sharp. The scarf keeps your neck warm. You think of Anna's hands, knitting the wool, her fingers moving quickly. You think of her sitting in her room, the candle burning, the yarn in her lap. She made it for you. You are not alone. The eve of St. Nicholas arrives. The sun sets early, and the lamps are lit in the windows. You go to the bridge. You do not know why. The bridge is crowded tonight, more crowded than usual. People are walking toward the old town square. You follow them. The square is lit with torches. The flames flicker, and the smoke rises. A stage has been built near the church. On the stage stands a man in a white robe. He has a tall hat, like a bishop's mitre. His beard is white, and his staff is curved. He is St. Nicholas. Children gather around the stage. Their faces are red from the cold, and their eyes are wide. Parents stand behind them, holding baskets. The saint raises his hand. The crowd quiets. He speaks, but you cannot hear the words. His voice is old, and the wind carries it away. But the children hear. They nod. They smile. The saint walks down from the stage. He moves through the crowd, and the children follow. He stops at each child. He asks them a question. They answer. He reaches into a sack and pulls out a gift, an apple, a nut, a small wooden toy. The children take the gifts and run back to their parents. You stand at the edge of the square. You watch. A boy passes you holding a wooden horse. His mother takes his hand. He looks back at the saint, and his eyes are bright. You remember being that age. You remember the feast in your village, the small gifts, the priest's blessing. You remember your mother, standing behind you, her hand on your shoulder. She is gone now, but the memory is there, warm and soft. A girl stops in front of you. She is small, with braids and a red coat. She holds a honey cake in her hands. She looks up at you. She says, "Are you waiting for the saint?" You say, "No, I am watching. She says, he gave me a cake. She holds it up. You say, that is a good gift. She nods and runs to her mother. You stay in the square for a long time. The torches burn low. The saint finishes his walk. The crowd thins. People go home carrying their gifts, their children, their memories. You walk back to the golden ring. The stairs are dark. You climb to your room. You light the candle. The flame glows. You sit by the window. The lane is quiet. The lights are in the window. The flame glows. You sit by the window. She has a small plate with a piece of honey cake. She says, I bought it at the market. I thought you might want some. You take the cake. It is sweet and soft. You break it in half and give her the larger piece. She takes it. She sits on the edge of your bed. You eat the cake. She eats hers. She says, did you see the saint? You say, yes. He was on the stage. She says, I saw him too. He gave a child a doll. You say, the children were happy. She says, they are always happy on this night. You finish the cake. You lick the honey from your fingers. She says, when I was small, my mother took me to the square. The saint gave me a wooden bird. I kept it for years. It broke when I dropped it. You say, do you still have the pieces? She says, no, I threw them away. You say, the memory is still there. She says, yes, the memory is still there. She stands. She says, good night. You say, good night. She leaves. You sit by the window. The candle burns. The flame flickers. You think of the wooden bird, broken, thrown away. But the memory is there. The memory is the kind of gift. You light of the memory. The scarf is around your neck. You do not take it off. It is warm. You close your eyes. You dream of the square. The torches are burning and the saint is walking. The children are laughing. You are a child again, small and small. Your mother is behind you, her hand on your shoulder. She gives you a honey cake. You eat it slowly. The honey is sweet. You wake. The window is grey. The candle has burned out. You sit up. The scarf is still around your neck. You touch it. It is soft. You dress and go to the courtyard. Marta is there, hanging a wreath on her door. She says, did you see the saint? You say yes. She says, the children were happy. You say, they were. She says, the feast is good for the soul. You draw water from the well. You carry it to your room. You wash your face and hands. You go to the market. The stalls are open and the people are buying gifts. You have no one to buy for, but you buy a small piece of honey cake. You eat it standing at the corner. The cake is sweet. You think of Anna and the cake she shared. You think of the girl in the red coat, her eyes bright. You think of the wooden bird, broken and gone. The memory is there. The memory is enough. You go to Master Carell's house. He is not there. The servant says he is at the cathedral. There is a mass for St. Nicholas. You sit at the desk. You wait. The room is quiet. The fire burns low. You add a log. The flames leap. You watch them. You think of the saint walking through the crowd. His staff was curved and his robe was white. He was old, but his eyes were young. He looked at the children and they looked back. There was no fear. There was only wonder. The servant brings you bread and water. You eat. You rake. You wait. Master Carell comes in the afternoon. He is tired. He sits at his desk. He says, the mass was long. You say, the feast is important. He says, yes. The children need the saint. He hands you a stack of paper. He says, copy this. A letter to a bishop in Olomouc. You dip the quill and begin. The words are Latin. They are polite and careful. You copy them and the page fills. The afternoon passes. The light fauf out. The dart that I get fixed. Master Carell looks at the pages. He nods. He gives you your coins. You put them in your pouch. You walk home. The streets are quiet. The feast is over. The people are home, eating their suppers, telling their children stories. You climb the stairs. You light your candle. You eat your bread and cheese. You drink water. You sit by the window. The lights across the lane are there. The woman is sewing. The man is reading. The child is playing. You watch them. The child is raid. The scarf is warm around your neck. The candle burns. The flame is steady. Anna knocks. She has a cup of hot milk. She says, Marta heated milk. She said to share. You take the cup. The milk is warm and sweet. You drink it slowly. Anna sits on the edge of your bed. She is wearing a new scarf, red wool. You say, that is pretty. She says, I bought it at the market, with the money from the silk shirt. You say, the silk shirt is finished? She says, yes. The man was happy. You say, good. She drinks her milk. She says, the feast was good. The children were happy. You say, they were. She says, I wish I were a child again. You say, why? She says, the world was simpler. The saint gave you a gift, and you believed. You say, you can still believe. She says, it is harder now. You say, yes, but not impossible. She stands. She says, good night. You say, good night. She leaves. You sit by the window. The candle burns. You think and a truth. The saint gave you a gift, and you believed. You still have the gift. It is the memory. The memory is a kind of belief. You lie on the bed. The scarf is around your neck. You close your eyes. You dream of the saint. He is walking through the square, and the children are following. He stops in front of you. He looks at you. He says, you have been good. You say, I have tried. He reaches into his sack. He pulls out a small wooden bird. He gives it to you. You hold it in your hands. It is smooth and light. You look up to thank him, but he is gone. The square is empty. The torches are out. You are alone. You hold the bird. It is warm. You wake the bird. It is warm. You wake the bird. It is warm. You light a candle to candle that's cold. You touch it. You think of the dream, the wooden bird, the saint's words. You have been good. You have tried. You dress and go to the courtyard. Marta is there sweeping the stones. She says, the feast is over. Now we wait for Christmas. You say, the saint came. He gave gifts. She says, he always does. You draw water from the well. You carry it to your room. You wash your face and hands. You go to Master Carroll's house. You copy the letter to the quartica. The words are polite and careful. The morning passes. The servant brings you bread and water. You eat, you drink, you copy. At dusk you walk home. The streets are quiet. The torches are gone. The square is empty. But the memory of the feast is there. You carry it with you. You climb the stairs. You light the candle. You eat your supper. You sit by the window. The lights across the lane are there. The woman is sewing. The man is reading. The child is playing. You watch them. The scarf is warm. The candle burns. You are not alone. You lie on the bed. The straw rustles. You close your eyes. You think of the wooden bird. It was small and light. It was a gift. You still have it. It is in your memory. It is in your hands. You hold it, and you sleep. The student lives in the attic, above Anna. You have heard his footsteps for weeks, but you have never seen his face. He is quiet, and he keeps to himself. He comes home late, after the bells have rung for Compline, and he leaves early, before the market opens. His footsteps are heavy, not light like Anna's. He is a big man, you think, or a man who wears heavy shoes. One evening, there is a knock on your door. You open it, and a young man stands there. He is tall and thin, with dark hair and a pale face. His coat is worn, and his shoes are patched. He says, I am Pavel. I live above you. My lamp has burned out. I have no flint. May I borrow yours? You say, yes. You give him your flint. He strikes it, and the spark catches. He lights his lamp. He says, thank you. He gives back the flint. He does not leave. He stands in the doorway. You say, would you like to sit? He says, yes. He sits on the edge of your bed. You sit on the stool by the window. He looks around the room. He sees the books on the chest, the quill and ink, the stack of paper. He says, you are a scribe. You say, I copy books for Master Carroll. He says, I am a student at the university. I study the 7 arts. You say, that is hard work. He says, the books are old and the teachers speak fast. But I am learning. He looks at the window, the glass is dark. He says, I come from a village in the south, near the border of Moravia. My father grows grapes. You say, grapes for wine? He says, yes, the wine is sour, but the monks buy it. You say, do you miss the village? He says, sometimes. I miss the hills. The forest begins at the edge of the fields. In the autumn, the leaves turn gold and red. You can walk for hours and not see anyone. You say, I grew up in a village too. There was a river. He says, the river near my village is small. You can jump across it. You say, the river near mine was small too. I used to catch fish with my hands. He says, I never caught a fish, I only stepped on them. You laugh. He laughs too. He says, I am writing a letter to my father. I want to tell him about Prague. But my Latin is bad, and my handwriting is worse. Could you copy it for me? I will pay you. You say, I do not need payment, I will copy it for free. He says, I will pay you something, a piece of bread, a cup of wine. My father sends me wine sometimes. You say, then you can pay me with wine. He says, it is sour. You say, I do not mind. He stands. He says, I will bring the letter tomorrow. You say, I will be here. He leaves. You hear his footsteps on the stairs, heavy and slow. He closes his door. The room is quiet. You sit by the window. The candle burns. You think of his village, the hills, the forest, the small river. You think of your own village, the river where you caught fish, the house where you were born. The memories are old and they fade, but they are still there. You lie on the bed. The straw rustles. You close your eyes. You sleep. The next evening, Pavel knocks on your door. He holds a piece of paper, folded and creased. He says, this is the letter. I wrote it in Czech, not Latin. My father does not read Latin. You take the paper. You unfold it. The handwriting is bad, the letters are crooked, and the ink is smudged. But you can read it. The letter says, Dear Father, I am well. The city is large and cold. The food is not as good as yours. I have found a room near the old town square. The house is old, and the stairs are steep. The people are kind. I study the 7 arts. The teachers speak fast, but I am learning. I have read Aristotle and Plato. Their words are hard, but they are true. I miss the hills. I miss the forest. I miss the grapes. Your son, Pavel, you say, it is a good letter. He says, it is short. You say, short is good. Your father will understand. You sit at the chest. You take a fresh piece of paper and a quill. You copy the letter in your best hand. The letters are even, the ink is black, and the words are clear. Pavel watches you. He says, you write fast. You say, I have had practice. You finish the letter. You fold it and give it to him. He holds it in his hands. He says, thank you. He reaches into his coat and pulls out a small clay bottle. He says, wine. From my father's vineyard. You take the bottle. It is heavy. You say, thank you. He says, we should drink it together. You say, yes. He sits on the edge of your bed. You find 2 clay cups. You pour the wine. It is dark red and it smells sharp. You drink. The wine is sour, just as he said. But it is warm and it spreads through your chest. He says, my father will be happy to get the letter. He cannot read, but the priest will read it to him. You say, he will hear your words. He says, yes. He will hear that I am well. You drink more wine. The bottle is half empty. He says, do you have a family? You say, no. My mother is dead. My father died before I could remember him. He says, I am sorry. You say, it was a long time ago. He says, the memory stays. You say, yes, the memory stays. He finishes his wine. He stands. He says, I must go. I have a class in the morning. You say, good night. He says, good night. He leaves. You hear his footsteps on the stairs. You sit by the window. The candle burns. The wine is warm in your stomach. You think of Pavel's father reading the letter, hearing the words. He will be proud. He will drink his own wine and think of his son. You lie on the bed. You close your eyes. You sleep. The next day, you see Pavel in the courtyard. He is drawing water from the well. He says, I sent the letter. A merchant is going south. He will deliver it. You say, your father will be happy. He says, I hope so. He carries the bucket to his room. In the evening, he knocks on your door again. He has a piece of bread and a small piece of cheese. He says, Marta gave me bread. She said to share. You take the bread. You break it in half. You give him the larger piece. He takes it. You eat. He sits on the edge of your bed. He says, the teacher spoke today about the soul. He said the soul is immortal. It does not die with the body. You say, do you believe that? He says, I do not know. But the words are beautiful. He quotes in Latin. You do not understand all of it, but the sound is beautiful. He says, I will be a teacher someday. I will have my own students. I will teach them about Aristotle and Plato. You say, they will be lucky to have you. He says, I hope so. He finishes his bread. He stands. He says, I must go. I have to read before I sleep. You say, good night. He says, good night. He leaves. You sit by the window. The candle burns. You think of Pavel, reading by candlelight, his eyes tired, his lips moving. He is learning. He is becoming a Tate. The words are in him. He is a bum a hebferinchping. You lie on the bed. You close your eyes. You sleep. The days pass. Pavel comes to your room often. He brings bread, cheese, wine, sometimes a piece of dried fish. You talk about small things, the weather, the market, the bells. He tells you about his classes. You tell him about the books you copy. He asks you to copy passages from his textbooks. You do. The words are Latin, and they are hard. But you copy them, and Pavel reads them, and he understands. One evening he says, I have a letter from my father. He unfolds the paper. The handwriting is not his father's. The priest wrote it. The words are simple. Dear Pavel, I am well. The grapes are harvested. The wine is sour, but it will sell. The priest read your letter. I am proud of you. Stay warm. Eat well. Your father Pavel reads the letter to you. His voice is soft. He folds the paper and puts it in his coat. He says, he is proud. You say, that is good. He says, yes, that is good. He drinks his wine. You drink yours. The wine is sour, but you are used to it now. He says, I will go home in the summer. The university closes. I will help my father with the vines. You say, that will be good. He says, I will miss Prague, but I will come back. You say, the city will be here. He stands. He says, good night. You say, good night. You say, good night. He leaves. You sit by the window. The candle burns. You think of Pavel's father, walking through the vineyard, touching the leaves, tasting the grapes. The hills are green and the sky is wide. Pavel will walk there in the summer. He will be home. You lie on the bed. You close your eyes. You dream of the village. The river is small and the fish are quick. Your mother is standing at the door, calling you to supper. You run. The grass is soft. You wake. The window is grey. The candle has burned out. You dress and go to the courtyard. Pavel is there drawing water. He says, I have a class early today. You say, the teacher will be waiting. He says, yes. He carries his bucket to his room. You draw water and carry it to yours. You go to Master Karol's house. You copy the letters. The words are Latin and they are careful. The morning passes. The servant brings you bread and water. You eat. You crike. At dusk, you walk home. The streets are crowded. You step aside for a cart. You wait for a woman with a basket. You climb the stairs. Pavel knocks on your door. He has a piece of honey cake. He says, Marta made cake. He says to share. You take the cake. You break it in half. You give him the larger piece. He takes it. You eat. The cake is sweet. He says, I have a letter for you to copy. It is to a friend in Moravia. You say, give it to me. He hands you the paper. The handwriting is bad, but you can read it. The letter is short. It says, Dear Jan, I am well. The city is cold. The food is plain. But the books are good. I am learning. I will come home in the summer. Your friend, Pavel, you copy the letter. Your hand is steady and the letters are even. Pavel watches you. He says, "You make my words look beautiful." You say, "The words are already beautiful. I only make them clear." He folds the letter. He puts it in his coat. He says, "I will send it tomorrow." You say, "Your friend will be happy." He says, "I hope so." He drinks his wine. You drink yours. The bottle is empty. He stands. He says, "Good night." You say, "Good night." He leaves. You sit by the window. The candle burns. You think of the letters, the words, the hands that write them. Pavel writes to his father, to his friend. The words travel south, across the fields, across the hills. They reach the people who were them. The words are a bridge, like the stone bridge over the river. They connect. You lie on the bed. You close your eyes. You sleep. The weeks pass. Pavel comes and goes. He brings letters, and you copy them. He brings wine, and you drink it. He brings stories of the university, of the teachers, of the students. You listen. The stories are small, but they are real. One evening, he says, "The winter is ending. The days are longer." You say, "I have noticed." He says, "Soon it will be spring. The vines will wake." You say, "Your father will be in the fields." He says, "Yes. He will prune the old branches. He will tie the new ones." You see the hills in your mind, the rows of vines, the man in the wide hat. You have never seen a vineyard, but you see it now. Pavel says, "I will bring you wine from the new harvest in the autumn." You say, "I will wait for it." He says, "It will be sour." You say, "I do not mind." He stands. He says, "Good night." You say, "Good night." He leaves. You sit by the window. The candle burns. You think of the wine, sour but warm. You think of Pavel, walking through the vineyard, touching the leaves. He will come back in the autumn. The city will be here. The room will be here. You will be here. You will be. You close your eyes. You sleep. The footsteps above you are soft. Pavel is reading or sleeping or just sitting. You do not know. But you know he is there. The winter is ending. The spring is coming. The letters will travel. The words will be read. The wine will be drunk. You are not alone. The snow melts in the second week of March. You notice it first in the courtyard, where the white has turned to grey and the stones are wet. The ice on the well cover is gone, and the rope is no longer stiff. Marta sweeps the melting slush into a drain, and the water runs away. The air smells of wet earth and something green, something that has been sleeping under the snow. You open your window for the first time in months. The shutters are stiff, and the wood groans. You push them wide, and the air rushes in. It is cold, but it is not the cold of winter. It is the cold of morning, sharp and clean. You breathe it in, and your chest feels lighter. The room has been closed for so long that the air inside is stale, heavy with the smell of smoke and old paper. You decide to clean. You take the broom from the corner and sweep the floor. The dust rises and you sneeze. You sweep again and the dust settles. You wash the window with a rag and a bowl of water. The glass is streaked, but you can see through it now. The roofs across the lane are wet and the water drips from the eaves. You take the blanket from the bed and shake it out the window. The dust flies away on the wind. You fold the blanket and set it on the chest. You sweep the hearth and take out the cold ashes. You carry them down to the courtyard and dump them in the barrel. Marta is there, washing her own windows. She says, "The spring is here. The winter is over." You say, "It is still cold." She says, "The cold will pass. The sun is stronger now." You go back to your room. You take the rag and wipe the walls. The plaster is grey, but the dust comes off. You wipe the chest, the stool, the windowsill. You sweep again. The floor is clean. The room smells of vinegar and wet stone. You open the small clothes are stiff. You carry them to the courtyard. Marta is hanging her laundry on the line. She says, "You can hang yours next to mine." You hang your shirt and your small clothes. The wind blows and the cloth flaps. You watch them for a while. They are drying, slowly. The sun is pale, but it is there. You go back to your room. You sit on the bed. The room is clean, and the air is fresh. The window is open, and the sound of the street comes in. Carts, voices, a dog barking. You've not heard these sounds so clearly in months. The winter sealed the room, and the silence was deep. Now the silence is gone, and the noise is a kind of welcome. Anna comes down to the courtyard. She is carrying a bundle of cloth. She says, "I am washing my linens. The winter dirt is thick." She dips the cloth in a bucket of water and scrubs. You watch her. Her hands are red and her sleeves are rolled up. She works quickly, wringing the cloth and hanging it on the line. She says, "Your shirt is drying." You say, "It will be dry by evening." She says, "The wind is good." She finishes her washing and stands by the well. She says, "The spring is a new beginning." You say, "The winter was long." She says, "They are always long, but they end." She goes back inside. You sit on the bench by the well. The sun is higher now, and the shadow of the house has moved. The stones are warm. You lean back and close your eyes. You hear footsteps. It is Pavel. He is carrying a bucket. He says, "I am washing my coat. It smells of smoke." He dips the coat in the bucket and scrubs. The water turns brown. He wrings the coat and hangs it on the line. He says, "My mother used to wash my clothes. She would beat them on a stone by the river." You say, "The river near your village?" He says, "Yes." The water was clear. He sits on the bench beside you. He says, "The spring is here. The university will close soon. I will go home." You say, "When?" He says, "In a month. After Easter." You say, "The hills will be green." He says, "Yes." "The vines will be green." He says, "Yes." "The hares will be green." He says, "Yes." The vine. Ego is inside. The sun is warm on your face. You think of the village where you were born. The river was clear and the grass was green. The spring was a time of planting, of digging, of waiting. You do not miss it, not really. But the memory is there, soft and distant. You go back to your room. The shirt is dry. You take it from the line and fold it. You put it in the chest. You sit by the window. The roofs are wet, but the sun is drying them. The water drips, and the sound is small like a clock. You go to Master Carell's house. The streets are muddy, and you step carefully. The snow is gone, but the mud is thick. Your shoes are wet, but you do not mind. The air is fresh, and the walk is good. Master Carell is at his desk. He says, "The spring is here. The light is better." You say, "The days are longer." He says, "You can work later now." He hands you a stack of paper. It is a new book, a commentary on the Gospels. You have copied Gospels before. The words are familiar. You dip the quill and begin. The morning passes. The servant brings you bread and water. You eat. You drink. You copy. The words flow, and the page fills. At dusk, you walk home. The market fills. At dusk, you walk code. The market is busy. The bakers are selling bread. The potters are selling bowls. The herbwoman is back with her bundles. You buy a piece of cheese and a small loaf of bread. You put them in your pouch. You climb the stairs. The stairs are damp, but they are not slippery. You light the candle. You eat your supper. You sit by the window. The lights across the lane are there. The woman is sewing. The man is reading. The child is playing. You watch them. You sit by the window. The child is playing. The window is open and the air is cool. The candle flickers, but the flame is steady. Anna knocks. She has a cup of hot milk. She says, "Marta heated milk," she said to share. You take the cup. The milk is warm and sweet. You drink it slowly. Anna sits on the edge of your bed. She says, "The room is clean." Anna sits on the edge of your bed. She says, "The room is clean. It smells good." You say, "I washed the walls." She says, "I washed mine too." The dust was thick. She drinks her milk. She says, "The spring is a good time for cleaning." You say, "It is a good time for new things." She says, "Yes, new things." She stands. She says, "Good night." You say, "Good night." She leaves. You sit by the window. The candle burns. You think of the new things, the new book, the new light, the new warmth. The winter is over and the spring is here. You lie on the bed. The blanket is clean and the straw is soft. You close your eyes. You sleep. The next day, you clean the stairs. The wood is dark and the dust is thick. You sweep from the top to the bottom. The dust is thick. You sweep from the top to the bottom. The dust rises and you sneeze. Marta comes out of her kitchen. She says, "The stairs have not been swept since autumn." You say, "I will sweep them every week now." She says, "Good." She goes back inside. You sweep the landing outside Joseph's door. The door is open a crack. You see him sitting by the window reading his book. He looks up and nods. You nod back. You sweep the stairs to the attic. Pavel's door is closed. You sweep the landing and go back down. The stairs are clean. The wood is dark, but the dust is gone. You carry the dust to the courtyard and dump it in the barrel. Marta is hanging laundry. She says, "The stairs look better." You say, "They needed it." She says, "Everything needs cleaning in the spring." You go to your room, you wash your hands, you go to Master Carell's house. The days pass, the sun rises earlier, and the light is stronger. You no longer need a candle in the afternoon. The pages pile up, and the book grows. You copy the words, and the words are a kind of spring. The mud dries and the streets are dusty. The trees in the churchyard turn green, small buds at first, then leaves. The birds return, and you hear them in the morning singing before the bells. You open your window every day. The air is warm now and the room is not cold. You sit by the window and watch the lane. The woman across the way hangs her laundry. The man sweeps his step. The child plays with a ball. They are there, and you are there. The lane is a row of small lives, and the lives are waking. Anna comes to your room. She has a piece of honey cake. She says, "Marta baked." She said to share. You take the cake. It is sweet. You eat it slowly. Anna sits on the edge of your bed. She says, "I am sewing a new shirt. For myself, it is green." You say green is a good color. She says, "It is the color of the new leaves." She stands. She says, "Good night." You say, "Good night." She leaves. You sit by the window. The candle burns. You think of the green shirt, the new leaves, the spring. The winter is a memory now, a cold memory, but fading. You lie on the bed. You close your eyes. You sleep. Pavel knocks at your door. He has a bottle. He says, "The last of the winter wine. My father sent it." You pour the wine into cups. It is sour, but you drink it. Pavel says, "I have passed my exam. The teacher said my Latin is improving." You say that is good. He says, "I will go home next week, after Easter." You say the hills will be green. He says, "Yes, the vines will be waking." He drinks his wine. He says, "I will miss Prague. I will miss this house." You say, "The house will be here when you return." He says, "Yes." He stands. He says, "Good night." You say, "Good night." He leaves. You sit by the window. The candle burns. You think of Pavel walking through the vineyard, touching the leaves. He will return in the autumn. The room will be here. The stairs will be here. The courtyard will be here. You lie on the bed. You close your eyes. You sleep. The spring deepens. The days are warm and the nights are cool. You leave the window open when you sleep. The sounds of the street come in, and they are a lullaby. You finish the book from Master Carell. He gives you a new one, a commentary on the Psalms. You have copied Psalms before. The words are familiar. "The Lord is my shepherd." You copy them, and the page fills. One evening, you climb to the roof. The ladder is in the attic, and the door is unlocked. You climb to the ridge and sit with your back to a chimney. The sun is setting, and the light is gold. The castle is dark, the river is silver, the towers rise like fingers. The roofs are red, and the windows are gold. The city is waking from the winter. You think of the winter, the cold, the dark, the candles, the silence. You think of the spring, the warmth, the light, the girds, the candles, the silence. You think of the spring, the warmth, knives. You stop at a tubby dop. You are not a stranger anymore. You sit until the stars appear. The bells ring, and you count. There are 9 of them. You do not know what they mean. But you know that you are here, and that the house is here, and that the city is here. You climb down the ladder. You go to your room. You light the candle. You eat bread and cheese. You drink water. You lie on the bed. The straw rustles. The candle flickers. You close your eyes. The footsteps above you are soft. Pavel is packing or reading or just sitting. You do not know, but you know he is there. The spring is here. The winter is gone. The room is clean. The window is open. The air is warm. You sleep. You do not dream. The night is quiet and the city is quiet and you are safe. You have lived in the Golden Ring for a year now. A full year. You arrived in the autumn when the leaves were falling and the air was sharp. Now it is autumn again and the leaves are falling and the air is sharp. The year has turned and you have turned with it. You wake in the morning and the room is grey. The window is open and the air is cool. You lie in the bed and listen. The bells are ringing, the deep bell of the tin church. You count the strokes. There are 6 of them. You do not know what they mean, but you know the sound. It is the sound of home. You dress and go to the courtyard. Marta is there, sweeping the stones. The leaves have fallen from the tree behind the house, and they scatter on the stones. Marta sweeps them into a pile. She says, "The autumn is here. The winter will come." You say, "The winter is not here yet." She says, "It is coming. I can feel it in my bones." She ties the pile of leaves into a sack. You draw water from the well. The water is cold, but the rope is smooth and the bucket comes up steady. You carry the water to your room. You wash your face and hands. You look at yourself in the small mirror that Anna gave you. It is not glass, just polished metal, but you can see your face. You are older than when you arrived. There are lines around your eyes and your hair is thinner, but your eyes are steady. You are not afraid. You go to Master Carell's house. The streets are familiar now. You know every corner, every shop, every crack in the cobblestones. You know which door has a loose step, which alley is a shortcut, which corner smells of the baker's oven. The city is not a maze anymore. It is a map in your mind. Master Carell is at his desk. He is old and his hands shake, but his eyes are sharp. He says, "You have been here a year." You say, "Yes." He says, "You have copied 6 books. The pages are in the university library. Students will read them for generations." You say, "They will not know my name." He says, "They will not need to. The work is enough." He hands you a new book. It is a commentary on the Psalms, the last part. You have been copying it for weeks. The end is near. You dip the quill and begin. The words are familiar. "Out of the depths I have cried to you, O Lord." You write them, and the page fills. The morning passes. The servant brings you bread and water. You eat, you drink, you copy. At dusk, you stop. The book is finished. Master Carell looks at the last page. He says, "It is done." You say, "It is done." He gives you your coins. You put them in your pouch. He says, "There will be more books. Come back tomorrow." You say, "I will." You walk home. The streets are crowded, but you move through them without thinking. You climb the stairs. You light the candle. You eat your supper. You sit by the window. The lights across the lane are there. The woman is sewing. The man is reading. The child is playing. You have watched them for a year. You do not know their names, but you know their habits. The woman sews on Mondays and Fridays. The man reads every evening. The child goes to bed early. They are there, and you are there. The lane is a row of small lights, and the lights are a chain. Anna knocks. She has a cup of hot milk. She says, "The cup of hot milk." She says, "To share." Anna knocks. She has a cup of hot milk. She said, "To share." You take the cup. The milk is warm and sweet. You drink it slowly. Anna sits on the edge of your bed. She says, "It has been a year." You say, "Yes." She says, "Do you remember when you came? You were thin and quiet." You say, "I am still quiet." She says, "You are not as thin. Marta's soup has fattened you." You smile. She smile. She smiles. She says, "I am glad you came to this house." You say, "I'm glad too." She stands. She says, "Good night." You say, "Good night." She leaves. You sit by the window. The candle burns. You think of the year, the winter, the spring, the summer, the autumn, the cold, the warmth, the rain, the sun, the books, the letters, the words, the neighbours, the courtyard, the well. You have a place. You lie on the bed. The straw. You sleep kip lap. The next day is Sunday. You do not go to Master Carell's house. You stay in your room. You clean the hearth and lay a new fire. You sweep the floor. You wash the window. The glass is clear and the light comes in. You go to the courtyard. Marta is not there. The well is quiet. The bench is empty. You sit on the bench and look at the sky. The clouds are high and white. The sun is warm. You close your eyes. You think of the year. The days were long, but they passed. The nights were dark, but the candles burned. The work was hard, but the pages filled. You were alone, but you were not lonely. The house was full of people, and the people were kind. You hear footsteps. It is Pavel. He has come back from his village. He is taller, and his face is brown from the sun. He says, "I returned yesterday. The harvest is in. The wine is sour." You say, "The wine is always sour." He sits beside you. He says, "The hills were green. The vines were heavy. My father is old, but he worked every day." You say, "He is proud of you." He says, "He is proud of the grapes." You laugh. He laughs. He says, "I brought you wine, a bottle from the new harvest." He hands you a clay bottle. You take it. It is heavy. You say, "We will drink it together." He says, "Tonight." He stands. He says, "I must unpack. The university starts tomorrow." You say, "The teacher will be glad to see you." He says, "He will not show it." He goes inside. You sit on the bench. The sun is warm. You hold the bottle. It is cool. You go to your room. You set the bottle on the chest. You sit by the window. The lights across the lane are there. The woman is not sewing. The man is not reading. The child is not fowing. They are at church. Perhaps the lane is quiet. You think of the church. The tin church is dark and tall. You have been inside once, at Christmas. The candles were bright and the choir was singing. You did not understand the words, but the sound was beautiful. You felt small, but not afraid. The church was old and the stone was cold, but the light was warm. You go to the courtyard. Marta is there, hanging laundry. She says, "The winter is coming. The days are shorter." You say, "The light will return." She says, "It always does." She pins a sheet to the line. The wind blows and the sheet flaps. She says, "You have been here a year. You are not a stranger anymore." You say, "I am not a stranger." She says, "You are one of us." She goes inside. You stand in the courtyard. The well is in the middle. The bench is against the wall. The pots of herbs are dry. The house is old and the stones are worn. But the house is strong. It has stood for generations and it will stand for more. You climb the stairs to the roof. The ladder is in the attic and the door is open. You climb to the ridge and sit with your back to a chimney. The sun is setting and the light is gold. The castle is dark. The river is silver. The towers rise like fingers. The roofs are red and the windows are gold. The city is spread below you, a map of stone and light. You think of the day you arrived. You were tired and uncertain. You had no money, no friends, no plan. The city was loud and strange. The stairs were steep and the room was cold. You wondered if you had made a mistake. Now you know you did not make a mistake. The room is yours. The stairs are yours. The courtyard is yours. The neighbours are yours. The city is yours. The neighbours are yours. The city is yours. You sit until the stars appear. The bells ring and you count. There are 9 of them. You do not know what they mean, but you know that you are here, and that the house is here, and that the city is here. You climb down the ladder. You go to your room. You light the candle. The flame is small, but it is steady. You take the bottle of wine that Pavel gave you. You pour a cup. The wine is dark red, and it smells sharp. You drink. It is sour, but it is warm. Pavel knocks. He has a cup. He says, "I brought my own cup." He has a cup. He says, "I'm bright, but it's that we will drink together." You pour the wine. He sits on the edge of your bed. He drinks. He says, the wine is sour. You say, it is always sour. He says, my father says sour wine is better for the stomach. You say, your father knows many things. He says, yes, he knows the vines. You drink. The wine is sour, but you are used to it. Pavel says, I will be a teacher someday. I will have my own students. You say, they will be lucky to have you. He says, I hope so. He drinks. He says, you are a scribe. Your work will last longer than mine. The books will be read for centuries. You say, the words are not mine. I only copy them. He says, the copying is a kind of creation. You make the words visible. You say, I never thought of it that way. He says, that is why you are a scribe, and I am a student. You do, and I think. He finishes his wine. He stands. He says, good night. You say, good night. He say, good night. He leaves. You sit by the window. The candle burns. You think of his words. The copying is a kind of creation. You make the words visible. The words were there before you in the mind of the writer, on the page of the old book. But you made them new. You gave them a new body. The pages are yours, even if the words are not. You finish the wine. The bottle is empty. You lie on the bed. The straw rustles. You close your eyes. You dream of the bridge. It is night, and the lamps are lit. The statues are standing, still and dark. You walk across the stones. The river is black, and the water is still. You reach the other side. The castle is dark, but there is a light in a window. You walk toward it. The street is narrow, and the houses are close. You reach the door. It is the door of the golden ring. You open it. The stairs are dark, but you know them. You open it. The stairs are dark, but you know them. You climb. You reach your room. The door is open. The candle is burning. The lights across the lane are there. The woman is sewing. The man is reading. The child is playing. You watch them. You are not alone. You wake. The window is grey. The candle has burned out. You dress and go to the courtyard. Marta is there sweeping the stones. She says, the leaves are falling. The winter is coming. You say, the winter is not here yet. She says, it will come, but the spring will follow. You draw water from the well. The rope is smooth and the bucket comes up steady. You carry the water to your room. You wash your face and hands. You go to Master Carroll's house. The streets are crowded. The market is busy. The bakers are selling bread. The potters are selling bowls. The herb woman is selling bundles of dried lavender. You buy a piece of cheese and a small loaf of bread. You put them in your pouch. Master Carell is at his desk. He says, I have a new book for you, the letters of St. Paul. You say, I have copied Paul before. He says, this is a new commentary, the words are difficult. You say, I will try. You sit at the desk, you dip the quill, you begin. The words are Latin and they are hard, but you copy them, one by one. The page fills, the morning passes, the servant brings you bread and water, you eat, you drink, you copy. At dusk, you stop. Master Carell looks at the pages, he nods, he give you grive, you gefragt. You put them in your pouch, you walk home. The streets are dark, but you know them. You climb the stairs, you light the candle, you eat your supper. You sit by the window, the lights across the lane are there. The woman is sewing, the man is reading, the child is playing, you watch them. The candle burns, the flame is steady. Anna knocks. She has a cup of hot milk, she says. Marta heated milk. She said to share. You cup the cup, she said. The milk is warm and sweet. You drink it slowly. Anna sits on the edge of your bed. She says, the winter is coming. The days are shorter. You say, the nights are longer. She says, we will light candles. You say, we will stay warm. She drinks her milk. She says, I am sewing a blanket. For the winter. For both of us. You say, that is kind. She says, you are kind too. She stands. She says, good night. You say, good night. She leaves. You sit by the window. The candle burns. You think of the blanket. It will be warm. It will be soft. Anna's hands will make it. The stitches will be small and even. You will wrap it around you in the cold. You will think of her. You lie on the bed. The straw rustles. You close your eyes. You sleep. The days pass. The autumn turns to winter. The leaves fall and the trees are bare. The air is cold and the windows are closed. The stove burns and the room is warm. You copy the letters of St. Paul. The words are hard, but you understand them now. Faith, hope, love, you copy the words, and the page fills. Pavel comes to your room. He brings wine. You drink it together. He talks about his studies. You talk about your books. The wine is sour, but the talk is sweet. Anna brings you soup. Marta brings you bread. Joseph gives you a candle. The house is a circle of small gifts. You give back what you can. A copied letter, a mended shirt, a drawn bucket of water. The circle turns. One evening, you climb to the roof. The stars are bright, and the moon is a thin crescent. The city is dark, but the windows are lit. The lights are a chain. You are one of them. You sit on the ridge. The wind is cold, but your coat is thick. You think of the year. You think of the winter, the spring, the summer, the autumn. You think of the books, the letters, the words. You think of the neighbours, the courtyard, the well. You think of the woman sewing, the man reading, the child playing. You think of Anna, Marta, Joseph, Pavel. You think of the master Kel, the old teacher, his hands shaking, his eyes sharp. You are thinking of your Now you are not. You were alone. Now you are not. You were afraid. Now you are not. You climb down the ladder. You go to your room. You light the candle. The flame is small, but it is steady. You sit by the window. The lights across the lane are there. The woman is sewing. The man is reading. The child is playing. You watch them. They do not know you, but you know them. The lane is a row of small lives, and the lives are a chain. You lie on the bed. The straw rustles. The candle burns. You close your eyes. You do not dream. The night is quiet, and the city is quiet, and you are safe. You wake. The window is grey. The candle has burned out. You dress and go to the courtyard. Marta is there, sweeping the stones. She says, "The winter is here." You say, "The winter is here." She says, "We will survive." You say, "We will." You draw water from the well. The rope is smooth. The bucket comes up steady. You carry the water to your room. You wash your face and hands. You go to Master Carell's house. The streets are cold, but you know them. The city is waking, and you are waking with it. You have a place. You have a job. You have a job. You have a You have a life. The year has passed and you are still here. You will stay. The house is old and the stairs are steep, but the room is yours. The candle burns and the flame is steady. The words fill the page and the pages fill the books. The books will last. The memory will last. You will last. The bell rings. You do not count. You walk.